We were walking down by the Canadian border, Route 89, and right there in the middle of the road, there was a big bobcat standing. Um, I thought it was a dog for a second because I just like literally woke up in the middle of the day. We were taking a nap, but I was like, I had my eyes squinch, and my wife says, "It's a cat." Like it's a big cat. It was a huge cat. I mean, I thought it was a dog, but we saw a big bobcat. So I'm so glad that she saw it because I ended up seeing one a couple of years ago here before we went to Ukraine. And this is wildflowers all the way to the Canadian border. Hi guys, this is Artie for Real One. This is a story how I got arrested in Ukraine. So in 2018, I was working as a caregiver for home provider, watching a pedophile who sat in jail for 35 years. He got out, and I was basically watching him for a 24-hour day, 24/7. And I said, enough. That's enough. I couldn't do it anymore. It was making my life miserable because he was a miserable prick. And so my mom asked me to go to Ukraine to help her brother, my uncle, to lift him up because he was paralyzed. So I went there. I did that for a couple of days. I did that for a week. I did that for a month. And then he was better. We did some massages. We did some physical therapy with him, and he got better. So he really didn't need my help. So I went to volunteer at church, demolishing floors and concrete floor for a new remodeling. And at that time, I was working probably 10 hours a day. I was finishing the project. And I stayed later. I stayed later that night. It was November or something like that, and it was very like freaking cold. I got home. My windows were open. My grandma, who at the time was living in my apartment with my uncle, she kept thinking that she's the owner of the apartment, and basically she had all her stuff in my room. She would just enter in, open the windows that I asked not to clear fresh air, you know. She had her own room. She wasn't really she had no injury in the brain or anything. She was functioning normal. So she kept doing that purposely. And one night, when I was, of course, demolishing the floors, I got home. I was tired. It was like midnight, and my room was cold. It was cold. She purposely opened the windows. I closed them. In the morning, I ended up getting cold. I ended up getting so sick that I had to go to the bathroom, and there she was smiling at me again, like the evil grandma. And so I went, I was like, Grandma, I asked you not to open the windows. Like, I told you so many times. Like, why would you do it? So she looks at me, she doesn't comprehend anything. I said, you know what? I'm sick of it. I'm trying to get her stuff out of my room. Like, she had some vases and fake flowers, a couple stupid books, and I end up taking that the garbage basically out of my room. And she got in front of me and she says, "What are you doing? Those pants are not mine. Those pants are your mom's." And I said, okay. So instead of she basically got in the way, and instead of pushing her or anything, I shoved the pants on the floor because I was just literally getting tired of her entering my room for no reason, and opened the windows when it's below freezing temperatures. So she's like, okay. So she left, and I hear something. She's calling somebody. And I'm like, well, she's probably calling mental hospital or something because she thinks I'm not normal. Next thing you know, I have two sergeants, officers at my door, a woman and a male from police, Ukrainian police, telling me that we need to go. She said, we need to go. I said, what do you mean we need to go? She says, we need to go to the office. I said, I don't want to go to the office. She needs to go to the office. She's the one who is opening my window for no reason. And I mean, don't get me wrong, this is my grandma. So she called cops on me for, I don't know what, but apparently I was emotional damage to her. I did emotional damage to her. She started crying as soon as the cops came in. She got the woman police on her side while I'm sitting there. My grandma's crying for no reason. And then I say, okay, this is ridiculous. I gotta call my mom. I call my mom and I say, hey mom. So I have two officers here. I'm in Ukraine. And they're trying to get me out of my apartment. My mom says, no, your grandma is a little mental. She goes, well, can you show me the documents? I say, what documents? Well, they ask the documents that she's mentally ill. I say, what do you mean? Like, it's my apartment. So they start asking me for documents for the apartment. I am not legally the owner. I'm only half of the owner because the other half of the apartment, my mom lost it to my psychopath father, documentary father. So anyway, so they're trying to literally arrest me in my apartment for not hurting anything except, and the guy says, so should now you put like a lock on the window? I said, why didn't I thought about that before? I say, I could have thought about that. He's like, why didn't you do that? I'm like, well, thanks, man. So, and anyway, we go to the office and they write me this valid bulletin saying that I cannot talk to my grandma in my own apartment, and we have to be apart, even though we're living in one, like 10 feet. I'm like, okay. So she's living in my apartment and I have to not able to talk to her. I said, okay, that's fine. Next thing you know, I'm still sick because I have fever. Like, my grandma just literally opened the windows when it was below freezing and I got sick. I'm laying on the ground in my bed with a fever. And she brings me this soup or tea. And I had so much to say to her, but instead I just put the note of the policeman saying that my eviction or whatever, not eviction, but the rule that I wasn't able to talk to her. So I put in there and I put it with her tea. Well, next thing you know, I mean, I'm a green card holder in America. This is a different story, but I should probably mix it with this one. I got arrested in Canada because I was trying to smuggle THC in my body. So I drink THC, and then I was a DUI. I was basically driving under influence in a different country. So I ended up getting arrested and they put me in the booth. I was waiting there for 5 hours while they told me I need a lawyer. I said, I don't need a lawyer. And they kept coming to my office where I was locked in and they said, you need a lawyer. And so after 5 hours, they said, give me a lawyer. So they called me and they're like, hey, if you say that you're guilty, you'll be guilty with $2,000 fine and whatever now. And so I said, okay. So we go into the hospital and they end up taking a blood sample of me, leaving me, telling me that I'm banned from Canada for 24 hours. And then I have to go to the court. I have a courtroom in June, and they forgot to read my rights. They didn't tell me my rights, and I was able to go free. The judge, by mercy of God, found that problem, that they never read my rights. They basically let me go with a slap in the wrist, even though I spent like 5 hours in a not jail, but it was like a booth of in between two countries. And so at that point, I didn't know that I was still free. But so I ended up being arrested in Canada. I ended up being arrested in Ukraine. Now I am two country convict. I can't get out and go back to US. My debit card got hacked in because somebody ended up buying alcohol from Texas with my debit card while I was in Ukraine. So my debit card was locked. I'm telling my mom, buy me a ticket with my money. And she says, no, I won't do that. I'll give you like $20 a week so you can still survive there and do whatever you gotta do. At that point, I literally lost everything. I had no money. I lost my house because my grandma ended up just taking me in for a ride. My mom doesn't want to accept my mom didn't want to accept my offers. So at that point, I ended up just going to an orphanage and taking a video of the kids eating popcorn and jumping on the trampoline. I ended up going to take a bus, but I had no money. I had like my last $20 for the week, so I ended up taking the electric train. And out of that 7 hours of riding, I ended up going to the McDonald's where I met my wife, future fiance, my love of my love, my love of my life. So out of all this story, yes, I got arrested for nothing, for stupid stuff. You guys can say, yeah, whatever. After that, I did ask for forgiveness to my grandma for no reason. And she said, oh, okay, you know, I mean, I was saying sorry that I asked her not to open the window in my room, but it still felt okay, you know, like God still put it in my heart that I needed to ask for forgiveness, even though I wasn't really, not intended, but I didn't really did anything. Apart from that, my mom paid the fine for $500, which is like, she paid the bribery or whatever, to the judge so they can release me, even though I wasn't guilty of anything. But my mom knew that it couldn't go on my record because I needed to have a clean record for my American citizenship. Even though at that time I just had a green card and I was trying to get my American citizen for some reason so I can bring my wife. Apart from that, we've been living in Ukraine for the last 2 years, and it was great. I mean, we helped with a few weddings. We helped with a few church events, Christmas, and we did some homeless feeding every Sunday. my friend Sergey, who is amazing person, and he works with he handcrafts wood. He crafts anything with. He's a sculptor. He's a architect. I mean, he's amazing artist, and he's as well as musician. My wife and him had a band together before the war. I mean, it was great. It was great because he's honest and kind person, you know. He's in Germany with his family right now. Their parents are in America. They're trying to get him out, and so he goes to America, but he had a surgery on his knee. So he doesn't know yet because it's so much money. But before I met him, because I proposed to my wife after 3 days, he ran towards my wife. When I proposed to my wife, we were sitting at the coffee shop, and he ran to see her because he wasn't sure if she had gone crazy or not, accepting an offer of an American of a guy who lived in America. And she didn't know anything about me. I mean, she only knew a little bit, but so, and she ended up accepting. He ended up taking her. He ended up taking her for like 40 minutes while we were in the coffee shop, and asked her like, what happened? Like, why are you so? Are you sure in your choice? You know, and so at that time, what happened? At the day of us announcing it to the church, we were driving to the church, and the guy ended up cutting on the red light and almost hitting us from the side door because he was going on the red. And thank God the driver wasn't going fast enough for her to crash through our car, you know. And at this point, her dog ended up just bitten me in my arm gently. And I mean, her dog is Albanian something. It's a huge dog that weighs like 200 pounds, but he like nibbled on me, and he bit the girl before, my wife's friend, who went and see her that day, not that day but that year. And I knew that dog had a history of biting people, but they don't shoot dogs in Ukraine. They're just they're happy if the dog actually bites somebody, because the dog is doing its job, her job. And I actually had a history of us, like, I was hanging out with punks, and like, I mean, I was a problematic kid, just the way I wanted to fight and stuff. And my front tooth got knocked out of my first fight on my mom's birthday. On my mom's birthday, she ended up receiving some friends over, and I said, Mom, I'm gonna go and hang out with my friends. And I ended up getting in the fight and losing my front tooth. But that's not the point. The point is that we were hanging out with some punks, and they just wanted to get in the fight. So we went to the bleachers, and we sat down, and the guy says, so what's going on? And the guy's like, not much. And then he ended up just like punch him in the face or something like that. I just nowhere. He just wanted to fight, and his dog runs towards us. I didn't expect it. I mean, I just thought he was gonna talk or smack stuff, you know, talk crap about him. But he just ended up just punching him, and the dog ended up just running towards us. So I'm running backwards. I'm trying to get my feet out of the way while the dog is trying to bite me, and I end up just like kicking the dog gently, I should say. And the dog went up leaving me. But man, Ukrainian dogs and American dogs, I feel like all the Ukrainian dogs are like canine units, because they're just raising them. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like animal abuse or anything, but they have like, in my wife's town outside the city, like they have dogs in each house, just because they're just like, they bark at night and they just talk to each other for no reason. They just bark, and you cannot, it's impossible to sleep there, like, because they just bark all night. I don't know how people can sleep in Ukrainian outside the city towns or wherever. As well as, I just wanted to share, apart from that, how my wife ended up resolving the problem with my grandma by loving her and treating her with respect that she wanted to be treated, because I had no patience for my grandma. Like, don't get me wrong, but my grandma, what you doing? Set. My grandma, she's like, she would shut off your chicken while you're cooking because she would say that it would smell or the fumes will go up. If I would go like to take a shower real quick for like 5 minutes, she would like shut off my eggs or whatever. I was like, did you shut off my eggs? She's like, well, they smell funny or something. So she always would like shut off my food, open the windows, call cops on me. But she's in Siberia, Russia right now, I think. She moved. And I'm actually grateful because my wife ended up resolving this problem. I cannot say thank you to my wife for being such a support for me and our family, because in hard times like that, she was just like saying, it's okay, she's your grandma, you know. And I mean, I know she's my grandma, but like when you do evil purposely and you know it that you do it, that's a different story. And I mean, not only she was doing evil, but she was telling evil. But apart from that, I don't want to go negative. But thank you for watching. I as well just wanted to share a couple of stories. Yeah, hopefully you guys like your comment. I got lots of negativity on the previous video because apparently I'm not Ukrainian enough, or even my passport saying is that. But in all this world, they're trying to put a stamp on us or saying a label. I know where I'm from. I know where I've been. I know where I want to be, and that's not even business. I just wanted to share that I'm grateful. I'm alive. My brain is fine. Yes, I did a lot of stupid stuff, but I have 2 kids now and a wife, and that's all I need. That's all I need, and we're trying to go forward through this YouTube, and I just want to thank you for likes, comments, and shares. I don't need much. I just wanted to have food for the table for my kids, and I hope you guys can support us. I'll be streaming lots of other stories that I will think about that I went through in difficult times. And I know there's a lot of stuff, but I just don't want to keep you too busy, you know. I know you have your own life, but thank you for watching, and God bless you. Hi guys, this is Artie401, and this is my son Matthew, who cannot sit for a single second quiet. He likes to move around. He likes to go somewhere, always on the move. He cannot be quiet. This is Artie401, and I'm walking my son in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, close to Canada. Hey guys, this is Artie401. I just wanted to share a story how I actually got arrested in Ukraine. So in 2018, I was in the United States, and my mom asked me to go to Ukraine and help my uncle who had a coma, and he was rehabilitating his body from post coma or heart attack. So I went there basically.